Congratulations! Hello! Welcome to another Dreadlocks Question and Answer video where I attempt to answer your dreadlock related questions. First question this week is from Robin L, and Robin asks, do you have any experience swimming in lakes or rivers with dreads? I do have some experience with swimming in fresh water while having dreadlocks, albeit rather limited experience. I think the only time I've ever swum in fresh water while having dreadlocks was in western Florida, sort of near Clearwater, but not actually clear water, because I believe the water in Clearwater is actually clear, whereas what I was swimming in was most certainly not. We went swimming where the manatees are. I don't believe you're allowed to do that now. I could be wrong, although I don't think you were allowed to do it then. The amount of trust I had for the most pirate looking guy that took us out there. Not gonna question the really strange pirate man. Anyway, it was rather, unclear water. So that would probably be at the extreme end of things that you'd swim in. And basically you can swim with dreadlocks in anything that you'd swim, with regular hair in. But the complications come with washing the stuff back out again. So if you're going to swim in something, just be certain that you're going to be able to effectively wash the hair again afterwards. Because it's all fine and well swimming around and stuff, but you don't want to be sort of like bringing back river and lake. I mean, even ocean. I don't like going around and having my hair smell like ocean. I love swimming in the sea, but, oceany smelling hair is a bit, and river smelling hair. I just remember that my hair afterwards, once it started to dry and you get that dry river smell, it's not nice. Gotta go home, give the dreadlocks a good scrub if you're swimming somewhere where you're particularly worried about giving them a clean afterwards. You can give them a deep clean afterwards. The swimming itself should not really be any rougher on the hair than washing them, but if you have to come home and give them a really intensive clean to get whatever you've been swimming in out of them again, I find it with chlorinated water. I have to give them a real good scrub afterwards. If you have really young dreadlocks, you might find that all that soaking and scrubbing is a bit rough on them, so that's something you need to bear in mind. Margot Escargot asks, I hope I pronounced that right first, but Margot Escargot asks, after I went swimming in the sea, I used to wait a few days before I washed the salt water off my dreads. Is that bad? Should you rinse away salt water right after? I personally would wash my hair after I've got out of the sea. I mentioned in the previous question that I don't like how my hair is after I've been swimming in something and I've come out and let it dry. I find that when I've been swimming in the ocean, I come out and let my hair dry, and then it just sort of, it doesn't feel the freshest that it could feel. So I personally like to wash my hair straight away after. The salt water is good for the dreadlocks, but you're going to get the goodness from the salt just from the swimming and the short period that it's in after you get out of the ocean. You don't really need to leave it in for extended periods of time. You can find that if you leave it in for long periods of time, that it will dry the hair out possibly more than you want, and then you have to start trying to moisturize it back again. And also, if you leave the salt on your scalp for long periods of time, it can dry your scalp and then you start itching it, and the salt on your scalp becomes irritating and it's not all that pleasant. I would personally recommend that, you swim in the ocean, you come out, you wash your hair, and if you want, you can go and swim again, or you can sea salt spray after. I think salt is best in small amounts, and if you feel that the small amount that you've given it is not enough, you can repeat it, but it's better to be safe with smaller amounts rather than just cover them in it and leave it for long periods of time. But if you do happen to leave the salt in for a long time after getting out of the ocean, it's unlikely to cause instant horrible damage, but I think it's not something that I would deliberately recommend trying to do. Julia Rizzuti asks, if I only dread some parts of my hair, what should I wash my hair with? If you have partial dreads, if you only have dreads in part of your hair, the actual washing part is pretty easy. You can use dreadlock shampoo all over. If a shampoo cleans dreadlocks, it's going to clean regular hair. The complication only really comes with the conditioning and keeping the conditioner on one part and keeping it off the dreads. But for cleaning, just wash it with any dreadlock shampoo that is compatible with your scalp. Any dreadlock shampoo that you get on with best. Eulises Tovar. So far I only got 3 dreads in my hair, just testing it out, and 2 of them have loosened up a lot except for a small section by the roots. Is this normal, or should I work on my twist and rip technique? New dreadlocks, they're going to loosen up from their initial tightness, so in this example, you're using twist and rip. If you're gonna put dreadlocks in your hair using twist and rip, you can find that they are nice and together on day one, like tight twist and rip dreads. And as time goes by, as you sleep on them, as you start to wash them, you will find that they start to loosen up. A certain amount of loosening up is to be expected and is normal. You got to remember that when you do the twist and rip, you're not actually creating the dreadlocks. You're not, creating dreadlocks with twist and rip. All you're doing is using the twist and rip to hold the hairs together so that over time those hairs within that twist and ripped lump will form into a dreadlock. So the loosening is not a big worry, but if everything comes undone, that's not good because the hairs that you've chosen to section up will no longer be together and interacting close with each other. So it really depends on how loose they've got. Twist and rip can take a bit of time to get used to. Backcomb's fairly simple and fairly quick to get used to, whereas twist and rip takes a little bit of time to figure out what you're doing. Even if you watch a load of demonstrations and read examples and things, it really takes a bit of time of actually playing with the hair to get into the sort of rhythm of it. If you find that pretty much all of it comes undone, you may want to redo them, but it really depends on how loose they've actually become and whether they're still sort of grouped up and sectioned up together or not. Fortunately, since you're still in the testing out phase, I guess you have a bit of time to practice your technique if needed. Facebook question this week, Sarah Arnold. How long would you recommend to wait before bleaching or dyeing your dreads? Bleaching and dyeing questions are actually quite common. Some people want to know whether you can actually bleach or dye dreadlocks, which you can, plenty of people do. Other people want to know how long to wait. And there is no sort of definite wait this long before bleaching or dyeing the dreadlocks. It depends on the individual situation, the individual circumstance. This is because when you come to bleach or you come to dye the dreadlocks, there's a lot of rinsing involved. If you've got young dreadlocks, you will know that when you go to wash them, when you come out from the wash, the dreadlocks can feel a bit ragged. They can look a bit looser and messier than when you first went into the shower. When you're gonna come to bleach and dye them, there is a lot of rinsing involved to get the excess bleach, to get the excess dye out. Especially with bleach, you don't want to leave the bleach in any longer than is required because the bleach will continue to work and can damage the hair. So after you've bleached the hair, you're going to want to make sure that you get all of the bleach back out again. Once you've dyed the hair, you also want to make sure you get all of the excess dye out so that it doesn't leak out onto your clothes every time the dreadlocks are damp from then on. So basically, it depends on whether you're confident enough to put your dreadlocks through that. If you're confident that your dreadlocks are strong and together and going to be able to easily cope with lots of rinsing and washing to get all that excess dye out, then you can go for it. If you're still feeling like your dreadlocks are a bit soft and weak and you wouldn't want to put them through all that intensive washing, maybe hold out a bit longer. You can also find that some bleaches and dyes have some conditioning element in them because when you bleach and dye the hair, it can leave the hair a bit drier, so sometimes it's balanced out by having some conditioner involved, and obviously that is going to soften the hair and make them even looser after the bleaching and dyeing. So I would just personally wait until you're confident enough to sit there and go, yeah, my dreadlocks are, they're coming together now, and they're coming together enough that I feel confident enough to put them through all this washing and drying and rinsing, etc. When in doubt, you can just wait a bit longer. Those are my questions for this week. If you have any questions that you would like to ask me to be answered in the Dreadlocks Q&A video, you can leave it down in the comment section below. Please write question at the start of your comment and then it will join the queue. If you don't write question, I will reply to you with a text comment. So if you want a text comment, don't write question. If you do want it to be in the video, write question. You can jump the questions queue by joining the Facebook page at facebook.com/lazydreads. Each week I ask for Q&A questions and whichever question gets the most likes before I next film will get answered that week without having to wait. If you like this video, if you found it interesting, helpful, useful, you can click the like button. If you'd like to see more videos from me in the future, you can of course subscribe. If you're looking for dreadlocks tips, help, advice, guides, tutorials, all my stuff is on lazydreads.com. I'd like to thank you guys for watching. I hope to see you again soon. Farewell.